There we go. Okay. So you'll notice I'm messing with a large amount of technology up here. So this room is kind of unique. If you'll look back there, you'll notice that there are some cameras back there. And what this is going to allow me to do is this semester, what you see up here on this screen, and then this whiteboard over here. In fact, I'm going to turn the light on because you can still see everything pretty well with the light on. And that'll make it easier to read the board. But everything you see up here and everything you see over here are going to be recorded on video. And then what I'm going to do is every day when I get home, I'm going to upload these videos and put them to our class website. So if you missed something during lecture, if you didn't get the notes down or whatever, you'll have these videos to go back to. It's going to be really nice. I created a new link on my class website, which is called Video Lectures. Okay, and even if you've had me before, you've never seen that link because that's going to be brand new. There's nothing there right now because this is our first day. So at the end of the first day, I'll have the first video up. So if you were to click on syllabus, it's going to pull up this document. Okay, and this is our syllabus for this class. So once again, I'm Jason Davis. You can call me anything that's unoffensive. So I go by Jason most of the time. Some folks don't like that. So they do the Mr. Davis thing. That's fine too. No problems with that. Mr. Jason I get sometimes. But you can see our meeting times. Notice that I have 2 algebra sections. So most of the time when I have 2 of the same class, students will ask, well, if for some reason, if I have a dentist appointment during class, is it okay if I come to your afternoon class? Absolutely. Okay, as long as I have room, that's fine. Just try not to make a habit of it, right? Because it gets very confusing if I have students that are registered in one section and coming to another regularly. But if you have something to do, some meeting, a job interview or whatever, and you need to come to the other section, by all means do so. Okay. Here you'll see that the text is intermediate algebra. Okay. I really do not use the text a lot, so that's why you'll notice on all of our classes in the bookstore it says wait till the first day and ask. Some folks love texts. Okay, it really helps them out. They look at the book, they follow the examples. As far as I'm concerned, in that case, the text is worth it. Purchase the textbook. If you're like me, I do almost everything on the computer now. You can buy what's called Connect Access. How many of you have used Connect at some point before? Good, quite a few of you. So we're going to be using an online homework system called Connect. And so if you've used Connect before, it's basically the same thing. If you had it for 034 and 067, you're going to have to buy a new access code for 097 and then 169 if you take that course. The access code will work for both courses. But the textbook is optional. Okay, you really have to think, do I think I'm going to be using the textbook regularly? If you are going to buy the textbook, since you have to have Connect Access, buy it new. Okay? If you don't buy the textbook new, it doesn't come bundled with Connect, and then it actually becomes more expensive to buy a used book and Connect Access than a new book that comes bundled with Connect Access. If all you want is the Connect Access, you can buy it 2 different ways, right? You can go to the bookstore and pay $66, get a piece of cardboard that has the access code, or you can buy it directly online for about $50. It's just the way the bookstore operates. Okay, it's kind of like the company store. It's high markups in the bookstore. If you don't have to buy something in the bookstore, I wouldn't. If you were like me going to college, I was super broke. And so I got financial aid, and they made me buy my books through the bookstore. So I didn't have a lot of options. But if you have an option, I always tell folks, don't go to the bookstore because it's not worth it. But the textbook, anyway, will be optional. You do have to have Connect Access, though. That's important. When you go to the bookstore, you'll notice that there's going to be 2 different versions. Okay, or if you go online, there's 2 different versions. There's Connect Access and Connect Plus Access. Connect Access just gives you access to the online homework system and the tutorial videos and stuff that are bundled with that. Connect Plus will come with the ebook, and you'll notice a price difference. Online, the Connect Access by itself is like $49.95, and the Connect Plus is an additional $30 for access to the e-textbook. So it's totally up to you how you want to do that. The other thing you're going to need is the TI-84 or TI-83 calculator. Doesn't matter to me. They operate basically the same way. So if you have a friend that has an old TI-83, that'll work just fine. If you don't have a TI-83 or 84 and you really, really don't want to buy one, then I suggest that you get to the library as quickly as possible, because they do have loaner calculators, but they go fast, and we don't have enough of them for every single student who needs one. So if you get down there quickly, you can get one.
Which one would you suggest buying?
If you're going to purchase one, I would purchase the TI-84. All right. So I've got some basic information here. My office is in LA 200U. Okay, I'll write that down real quick. During office hours, I'll be there. It's not a very nice place to hang out, though, so I'm probably not going to be there if it's not office hours. You can check, but it's like a little broom closet, so I'm not usually in there. No windows or anything. I give you 2 phone numbers, my office phone. If it's during office hours, go ahead and try the office phone. If not, use my cell phone. Okay? There's no bad time to get a hold of me. If you call me and I'm sleeping, you're not going to wake me up. All right? I turn my phone on vibrate, leave a message, I'll get a hold of you. But there's no bad time to call. You know, some folks have that don't call me before 9 thing. I don't. Okay? 2 emails, doesn't matter which one you use. If you're using the top one, this is my WCC email. Couple things. One, if you want grade information. Federal law states that I have to use this email address to discuss grades. Okay, it's privacy issues. And you have to use your WCC email if you want grade information. So use your WCC email and my WCC email if you want to talk about progress in class, test grades, overall grades, anything like that, because I can't do it over any other email address. But I give you my Gmail there too. Some folks like to send it, they'll just put both email addresses in. That way, whichever one I check first, they know that they're going to get a quick response. I am not a dinosaur. I have had professors that it would take them a week to get a hold of me via email. That will never happen, okay? The largest amount of time that I could ever conceive of is possibly 24 hours. That almost never happens. I've got some former students in here that can tell you. Usually it's somewhere between, if I'm at the computer, 5-10 minutes. If I'm not at the computer, maybe a few hours. Okay, but I'm very, very quick with my email. Question? Oh, okay.
Jason,
Yeah.
for the TI-84, is there only one type of TI-84? Because mine says TI-84 plus C.
That's totally fine. Totally fine, yeah. There's a bunch of different TI-84s. Now they even have ones with color screens, which is crazy, and Wi-Fi and all sorts of other fancy stuff. And any of those is going to be fine. If it's the newer color one, if they've changed the interface, it may be a little different. We can figure it out in, oh, cool. So we can figure it out, if there are any differences, because I've not yet had a chance to play with that one. We can figure it out like during office hours or something like that. But I doubt that there's much of a difference.
So you don't recommend the Inspire? Because that's what I learned in high school.
Yes. As long as you know how to use it, it's totally fine. Okay. I have 2 different versions of the Inspire, and I've played with them a little bit, but because they're not required, I won't be teaching that calculator in class.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I thought of my question. You said we can rent basically calculators from the library.
Yeah.
Keep it all semester?
Absolutely. Keep it all semester. Yep. Yep. It's nice. It's just what we do. Because we use the Texas Instruments calculators, the math department gets a certain amount of funds through Texas Instruments, and we can do whatever we want with those funds. And we've chosen to every semester buy calculators and then give them to the library to loan to students. So, yeah, it's really cool. Office hours, Monday, it should say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For some reason it only says Monday, Tuesday, but that's just not true. 8:45 to 9:45 in the morning, I'll be in my office. Okay? Yeah.
You mind if I get a copy of it?
Oh, I have not handed out copies of this. But what you do want to do is write down the class website, because that's where you'll find it. Also on Friday, in this room, I will be running my study sessions. So if you've had me before, you know about the study sessions on Friday. I open those up to any 034, 067, or 097 students. I'll tell you that, if you come in on Friday from noon to 2, you can probably get a lot of one-on-one time because I don't have a whole lot of folks that are in here. I think my largest group ever is probably around somewhere between 8 and 12 students. So I can spend a lot of time working with folks. This is that class website. I wrote it up here since you don't have the hard copy, so make sure you copy that down. Course description, hopefully you read before you ever signed up for the course. And now we got to talk about policies, classroom policies, rules, whatever. I always sum it up as just saying I need everyone to respect everyone else. Okay, that's really what rules are about as far as I'm concerned. Some of those things are about eliminating distractions. So, unless you're using them specifically to view the PowerPoint slides that I teach from, don't have your computers open, messing around with Facebook or YouTube or any of that stuff. Phones, if you have them, make sure they're on vibrate so that we don't have to hear what your favorite song is at the time when it rings during lecture. If you need to answer your phone or you need to send a text message, either do so not answering, but if you have to send a quick text, do so discreetly from your seat, okay? Because what you're really trying to do is not be a distraction to your peers. If you have to answer a phone call, just go out in the hallway and take the call. I've had a few students who have answered calls during lecture, and one, it's profoundly rude. Two, it's really, really distracting to me. Like, it can throw me off for like a few minutes. I don't know if anyone here has ever seen it, but it's very, very distracting to have someone answer a cell phone call during lecture. If you do come in late, if possible, try to take one of the seats towards the back so that you're not walking in front of people. Once again, none of these are meant to be punitive. It's just all about trying to limit the amount of distraction that we have. Socializing during class. I love it when my students, about a week or two in, class is a buzz before it starts, right? In the hallway, everybody's talking to each other. I think that those social connections are important. They're important to the learning environment. That's how you wind up being comfortable forming study groups and all sorts of other things. You can get information from your peers if you know them well, if you had to miss a class or something like that. Once class starts, the only sorts of discussions that should be happening in class are very quiet discussions about the material. So if someone missed something and he was like, oh, what did he say real quick? That's fine if it's about math. But we really want to limit the socializing in class. If it becomes a repeated problem, then I'll ask you to leave for the day, just to kind of give you time to reset. But I normally don't have to do that. This is a big one. Doesn't come up very often, but it's really distracting when it does. Arguing, any sort of verbal disagreement, okay? It's just not appropriate for the classroom. If there are some sort of problems that you can't resolve calmly and rationally with your peers, come to me, and I'll deal with those problems. But cussing someone out in the middle of class, not cool, okay? Really not cool. It'll throw everybody off. So don't do that. If you do, I'll probably wind up asking all of the parties involved to leave. Okay? Just for the day. I'm not kicking anybody out permanently or anything, but I have to try to maintain a proper learning environment for the largest number of people. And then the last one, this is one I've only had to deal with it once, ever, but it's important. Any student caught cheating on any assignment for this class will automatically receive a grade of F for the course. Doesn't matter what the assignment is, whether it's a test or, I don't give quizzes really, but if it were a quiz or anything, caught cheating, automatic failure. Okay? Like I said, I don't think cheating happens nearly as much as some folks think it does. Some folks really think that all students are just out to cheat their way through college. And I think most folks understand that when you cheat, you're kind of screwing yourself. But, it does happen occasionally, and that's how I deal with it. So, attendance. Attendance is probably the most crucial aspect of class, okay? Other than maybe homework, you really have to be here to get the material. So the official attendance policy for all of these courses is that if you miss 12 or more classes for a 4-day-a-week class, you can fail the course, okay, or be withdrawn if it happens before the midterm. Once again, I don't have a whole lot of folks that are missing 12 classes that aren't already failing. All right? So I don't usually have to implement this policy. But just understand that if you're here every day and I can see you really trying hard, I'm going to bend over backwards to help you succeed. If you miss 2, 3 days regularly out of a 4-day week, and you come to me and say, I don't know what's going on, I'm going to be, of course you don't know what's going on. You haven't been here. Okay? So attendance is really important. Homework. Homework is completed on Connect Math. Okay? So let me pull up the class website real quick. And if you scroll down under Student Resources, there are a few links that are going to be important. First one says Connect Math. Second one says Connect Math Registration Guide. If you have never used Connect Math before, that's what you're going to need, that registration guide. Even though you have to buy new access, if you had Connect in the past, you're going to use that account. Okay? So if you've used Connect in the past, then you want to use this Connect Math Changing Sections. Okay? So just make sure that you know the difference. I've had some students in the past try to use the registration guide, and it won't let them use their email address because they say it's already registered to an account. That's because you already are registered for Connect Math, and you just want to change sections.
Jesus, if I have it already on my computer, is that where I go to and just put the new access code in there? That
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm not really computer savvy.
No problem. If anyone is nervous about registering for Connect Math or changing from one section to another if you've had it, either come to me during office hours or nearly right next door here is the math lab. And all the tutors in the math lab know how to do that sort of stuff. They can help you with that. Okay? But it's going to be really important to get registered. Once you're registered, if you click on Connect Math, it opens up that page. And this will be your login screen. This is where you'll type in your login and your password. If I do that right now, it's going to look a little different than yours.
So once we log in here, it'll then give us the option to, if we're already up and running,
That's
to
right.
put in our new access.
That's right. If you get that changing sections, it's a step-by-step tutorial on how to get in there. Now you won't see this because you're not a teacher. You'll just see your classes, but I just want to show you what it'll look like once you are finally registered. Okay, now, you're not going to see all your upcoming assignments. You'll only see the ones that are available. But it'll look basically like this. You've got home, that always just gets you back to this page. Gradebook, if I click on Gradebook, I see all your grades. But if you click on Gradebook, you'll only see your grades just for Connect, okay? It's not grades for the whole class, just your homework grades in Connect. Messages, I don't put out a whole lot of messages. Those will pop up in announcements if I ever do. And then resources. If I click on resources, you got extra practice problems that you can do, videos that you can watch on various things. So if I go to videos, Chapter 1, Section 1, you can see there's several tutorial videos that I can watch. It's a really nice system. Some folks at first are very resistant. They're like, oh, I really don't like this whole doing homework on the computer thing. But it allows you to get immediate feedback to every single problem that you do. It allows you to contact me as soon as you know that you're struggling. Okay? Let me just kind of click on one of these assignments. We'll preview it. All right. Okay. So, once you read through the problem and you input your answer, you've got all these buttons over here. Check answer. It'll automatically tell you whether you're right or wrong and let you try again. Okay. Try to avoid solve it and guided solution unless you're really stuck. Okay? Because what happens is if you click one of those two, it's going to mark you wrong and you'll have to go back after you've submitted and try the problem again. Show example, though, is great. It just basically gives you a little snippet of the text, right? And that's why I said you don't really need a textbook at this point, because in every single problem, it's going to have a show example, which will look just like the textbook would have an example. So you can click show example and then go back and try your problem. And if you're super stuck and none of this stuff is helpful, you click the Ask My Instructor button. And when I click on that, it says it's sending it to Professor Davis. I don't profess anything, but that's what they call me in here. And what you can do is you can type in this box, what exactly you're struggling with that problem, and then I can respond to you, okay? It's really, really, really nice. Let's cancel that out. So this is the Connect system. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions about it. The main thing I want you to do at this point is get registered, okay? Once you get registered, in the registration process, you're going to need two things. You're going to need the course code, which gets you registered for our specific section. You'll notice that on the class website, it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. If you scroll down just a little bit, it says codes for my 10 a.m. to 10:55 section. That's you guys. This is your course code. You can just copy and paste that right into where it asks for the course code. The other thing it has is a financial aid access code. Say you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I don't get paid till next week. How on earth am I going to get this code? The financial aid access code gives you 2 weeks worth of access to the system, okay? And you don't have to pay for that, all right? So it gives you kind of a grace period if you don't already have your access code. Make sure that you understand that it's just 2 weeks. If you don't get your code within 2 weeks of registering, then it's going to block you from entering into your account, okay? I have that happen every semester. Students are like, I can't get in because you haven't paid yet, okay? You gotta make sure you pay within 2 weeks, all right? But it is nice in that now I can expect, and I do expect, that by tomorrow, everyone will be registered for Connect Math, okay? You want to get in and get started right away. There's a lot of homework to do in this class. This section, Mth097, is a lot of work. And I want to make sure that folks don't kind of short themselves by getting a late start on their homework. If you've got 2 or 3 homework assignments to do all of a sudden, you're going to feel like you're being overwhelmed. So you want to get started right away. Not if you had it previously. All you're going to do when you do change sections, you'll put in the new course code and it'll just transfer you into the new section. Yeah.
At the end of the financial access code, it says 620 or 520.
Oh, it says D9520. But once again, I wouldn't write that in. I would copy. I would go with my mouse and I would just copy that and then paste it in where they want it. Okay, it's much easier, and then you don't have to worry about typos. All right. So, any questions so far? I throw a ton of information at you on the first day, and it's just kind of the nature of the beast. If you have questions, please get a hold of me. All right, in-class practice activities and projects. All right, mostly our in-class practice is done through Turning Point. And if you've had me before, you know exactly what that is. It's the clickers, right? So I teach from PowerPoint, and we use these Turning Point clickers in order to answer questions. Why? Because when I was a student, I was a developmental math student. Back in 2000, I was in Mth097. And I hated it if someone called me to the board. Okay? If I knew the answer, you call me to the board, I forget the answer. I got too nervous. I had too much anxiety about being up in front of a group. So the clickers allow you to be anonymous in the group and still allow me, when I get back to my office, to print out a report and see how everybody's doing. Okay? Really nice system. But in order for this to work, you have to grab your clicker and only your clicker every day. Okay? So that's important. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go through my list because I need to, for the first 2 days, take attendance. And as I do that, I'm going to give you a number. That number is your clicker number for the rest of the semester, so please write that number down. Okay? So let's see here. Let's see if I can find these people. Tammy Brown. There you are. Your clicker number 1. And is it Akeem Kane? Akeem? Your clicker number 2. And as I call your name, go ahead and come up and just grab the clicker. Shantae, your clicker number 3. I cannot see anything because I'm being blinded by this light. Caitlin Carvet. Caitlin, clicker number 4. Oh, also, as I call your name, if you really prefer to be called something else, let me know and I'll jot it down. Okay. Caitlin Collins. Kate, sure. Kate, you're clicker number 5. And it's Michelle. Where is she? I saw her. Clicker number 6. And Christian, clicker number 7. And Danielle, clicker number 8. Madeline, clicker number 9.
I go right,
Maddie, okay.
Oh,
Oh, sure, number 9. Yep. And Michelle Lewis.
I'm right here. Call me L.
L?
Yeah, this is the letter L.
No problem. Clicker number 10. And Jordan Linville. Did I say that right? Yeah. Clicker number 11. Gregory Park. Gregory Park. Clicker number 12. Greg. And Jeremy, where are you? I saw you before. Clicker number 13. Mana? Did I say that right? Okay. Clicker number 14. Ina, clicker number 15. And is it Kylie? Clicker number 16. Oh, sorry. 13. Yep. And, huh? Uh-oh. 13's right there. All right, where were we? Mackenzie. Mackenzie? Kenzie? Okay. Kinsey. Okay. It's clicker number 17. Faith, where are you? 18. Victoria Tomlinson. Tori. And you're clicker number 19. Angela, you are clicker number 20. Vashon, clicker number 21. And Tamarick. Tamarick? Tamarick, you're clicker number 22. All right. So I'll give folks a moment to make sure that they've grabbed their clicker. And it looks like everybody was here, which is just fabulous. Vashon, you're 21, and Tamarick, you're 22. All right, so when you come in, every other day except for today when we were assigning them, the clickers are going to be right here. Just automatically grab them. We're basically going to use them every day. So make sure you grab it. What this allows us to do, and we'll just do a couple of these so that I can get to the rest of this. All right. So this says, turning point, first day, getting to know the syllabus. We can kind of go through this together. I don't necessarily expect you to know the answers to anything. But what will happen is, as I go through the turning point presentation that we'll do every day, occasionally you're going to see these sorts of questions pop up. And you'll notice it's got a question. It's got multiple choice answers. By the way, only in class will I give you multiple choice. Your tests will never be multiple choice. Okay? But that's just the way the system works. Up here, you'll notice that it says polling open. That means that you can press a button if you want. If you hit the wrong answer, fine. That's totally fine, because until I close polling, you can change your answer. So if you chose answer number 4, and then you're like, oh, no, I know it's answer number 2, whoops, you can change it to answer number 2, and it'll mark you correct. Okay? This up here tells me how many responses I have so far. Okay, so far I can see that 14 of you have answered this question. So for the rest of you, it says my office is located in room. Which room over here is my office located in, right? So once you choose that answer, I got 21 of you, 22. There we go. Once I see 22, I know I've got everybody answered. And I can close polling. Close polling. Why is my... Of course it's going to... There we go. So now, polling is closed. And I can see that 95% of you know where my office is. The way that I use these when they're actually math questions, which starting tomorrow they will be, is if I have 75% of you getting the right answer, I move on. That does not mean I don't care about the other 25%. What that means is that we've got a lot of material to cover in class. And 75% is good enough for the time being. And what I will do is just have you come to my office or to get some one-on-one help if you need it. Okay? Sometimes it's that you don't get it quite in class, but as you're doing your homework, you're fine. Okay? You don't need to come in. But I just want to make sure that folks understand that if I move on and you haven't got the question right, it does not mean that I don't care about your ability to answer the question. We just obviously have to set a certain pace to get through the material. And there is a lot of material to cover in this class. So, all right, so let's do one more. Now you can see once I did that, this green check mark comes up. Okay, and that actually shows you what the correct answer is. So let's try another one here. Polling's open. It says you will also be assigned homework via. And then is your homework going to be in worksheets, a course pack, Connect Math, or Blackboard? What did we just, do you remember the name of the thing that we just got done talking about that's you're going to do all your homework in, right? And if you don't know, maybe lean over and ask one of your classmates, hey, you remember what the name of that homework system was? I think it was Connect, but I'm not sure, right? All right, so I can see that I've got 22 responses. I close polling, and 100% of you know you're going to be doing your homework in Connect Math. Okay, that's great. So that's how this turning point system works. Now, I have 4 other classes. Okay? So if you accidentally walk out with your clicker, you walked out with 3 other people's clickers. Okay? So please make sure at the end of class, you don't have to do it right this second, but at the end of class, you always want to put them back. All right? Now, some folks like to put them back all kinds of slapdash. All right? Try to put them back in a semi-neat fashion. I don't expect them to be in numerical order, but on these tubes, I actually wrote down that 1 through 15 goes in this column, and then the other column is 16 through 30. If you can just get them in the right column, that would be great. Okay? So any questions on using these turning point clickers? It always happens too, I want to kind of talk about this a little bit. I do not grade you on whether or not you answered these questions correctly, but I do grade on whether you participated. It behooves you to answer every single question. If you have no idea, take a wild guess. Because this is only going to tell me what percent got it right out of those who answered. So if say there's 40% of the class that doesn't know the answer to a question, but if they don't respond, it looks like 100% got it correct. So if you are really struggling with the material, guess wildly. Try to guess what you know is wrong, maybe, if you really want me to go through the problem, because that's going to push the percent down below 75, and then I'm going to go over the problem. So I do not grade these on whether you got them right. I've had students that pretty consecutively, that just takes them a little bit longer, and their in-class scores are not high. And I'll talk to them, say, hey, are you doing all right? And they're like, yeah, it's in class, it's a little bit fast, but I get home, I start doing my Connect, and I'm fine. And I can see that in their homework scores. So I will never take points off because you didn't answer something correctly. But if you don't answer any questions, it looks like you weren't here and you weren't participating. And so you will lose points for that. So make sure that you're always participating by answering the questions. All right. And you'll notice what I'm doing now is I'm actually saving that session, those 2 little questions that you answered. That's going to show me how many people were participating on the first day. We'll reset that. All right. So let's get back to this. So that's the in-class practice activities and projects. I always reserve the right to give quizzes, and I never do. Why? Because we do not have time in this class for quizzes, okay? We just don't. If I took 5-10 minutes out of every class period, or even one class period a week to quiz, I don't think we'd get through the material that we need to get through. So I normally do not give quizzes. Tests. Tests are important. I just got done talking about how we don't have time to do quizzes. We don't have time to take tests in class either. So in this class, you're going to be taking your tests outside of class in the testing center. Does everybody know where the testing center is? Did everybody take the compass test? That's the testing center. Okay, so that's where you're going to go to take your test for this class. I always give you at least a week to take them. Okay, that way you have time with it, work out your schedules as to when you're going to go in and take them. Also, they're not time tests. So if you need a half an hour, you get a half an hour. If you need 3 hours, you get 3 hours. Hopefully, no one needs 3 hours, but if you need it, you've got it. Okay, there's no time pressure to take these tests. They will be pencil and paper, so unlike your homework, they're going to be pencil and paper tests because I need to be able to see your process. I am very much more concerned about your process than your answer. If there's a big long problem and your entire process is correct, and you did this common math mistake where you said 2 times 3 is 5 instead of 6, you're going to get nearly all your credit for that problem. Okay? If I take anything off, it would be very, very minor because you have the process down. And that's what I'm really looking for. Yeah.
Real quick, 2 questions. Are we going to be using calculators? And if so, what are you?
Absolutely. The TI-84 calculators.
TI-84?
Yep. TI-84 calculators. So this class is a foundational course, which means that you really need everything in here in order to be successful in your college level math classes. So because it's foundational, I do it on a mastery system. So what that means is for each test, you need to get a 75 or better to pass the course. Now, 75 is a C. Hopefully no one in here is shooting for a C. But this says you have to get a 75 or better on each test in order to pass the course. If you don't do that, all is not lost. What then happens is you have to get a 75 or better on the cumulative final. Okay? I do that because if you go through and you did everything else really well, but you failed one test and you never learned that material, that is really going to hinder your ability to be successful in your college courses, whatever courses you need for your program. Okay? So the goal, once again, is not to punish anybody. It's to make sure that you have all the math tools necessary to be successful in the next course. And I can tell you, I was really, really excited. I ran into one of my algebra students from this past winter semester at the mall maybe a week or 2 ago. And she comes up and she gives me a big hug and she says, "Hey, I want you to tell all your students statistics isn't as hard as they make it out to be." But the reason she had that attitude was because she worked really, really hard in the algebra course to really master that material. And while she was mastering the material, she was making herself a better learner. And so I've had other students come to me and say, "Man, this statistics is killing me." And it's because they really didn't master both the mathematics and the student skills necessary to be successful in those college level classes. And so I want as many of you as possible to be the top students. Okay? When you go into 169 or statistics or your health science math, whatever it is, I want you to walk in there thinking, "I got this. This is nothing." All right? Because Jason worked me so damn hard that anything they can do is going to be fine. Okay? So I want you to have that confidence. All right? That is key, by the way. I didn't get to learn this for a long time. I dropped out of college the first time because I wanted to be an English teacher and they told me I needed statistics. On that day, I dropped out of college, became a body piercer, ran a tattoo shop for a while. Okay? Seriously. They said statistics, I freaked out. And I jetted. I was out. I wanted nothing to do with that. All right? But I came back because I figured out, one, body piercing is exciting for the first year. It's kind of interesting the second year. The third year, you kind of feel like a line worker. All right? Your 10,000th navel piercing is boring. There's no interest in that. All right? So I came back, and everything needed math. And so rather than being a punk and just chickening out, I was like, you know what? If I got to do it, I'm going to attack it. I'm going to be tenacious as hell. And that's a word you'll hear me use a lot, tenacity. Because oftentimes to be successful in things that we struggle with, you have to be tenacious. Like failure isn't even an option that floats around in your head. If it happens, it is simply a small obstacle and you move on. Right? That's the sort of attitude that I want all my students to have. Because I always want my students to be the best students. Right? Wherever they go, I want folks being like, "Oh yeah, that's one of Jason's students. I don't have to worry about them." Okay. So that's why I do the mastering. Quizzes, we're not going to have any quizzes. I'll just tell you right now. No time for that. Final exam. I do not write the final exam. The final exam is a cumulative short exam. It's like 11 questions. And Bob Hatcher writes it because he's the lead instructor for algebra. You will be so ready for that final exam that it will be a joke to you. Okay? There's not even any application problems on the final exam. Or word problems, as some folks like to call them, or story problems, whatever you want to think of them as. There's no story problems. It's if it is like it has been for the past 3 years, and who knows what it'll look like this time, but it never looks any different, it's easy. And I'm going to give you so much practice for that you will hate me and you'll be prepared for it. All right? You will be so ready for the final. Don't even worry about this cumulative final exam. After the rest of my test, you'll be like, that's a joke. Something that is new, even if you have had me in the past, is I always tell my students, these are worthless. These don't mean you passed the class. These mean you didn't fail it quite as badly as someone that got an F. But it doesn't do anything for you. So I was like, why do I even have these in my... It just confuses folks. So I took them out. All right? There are no D's in this class. You're either passing the class or you are not passing the class. All right? So... this is my grading scale. 70 to 77, that's a C. No one's shooting for the C, so don't pay attention to those ones. But that's where the passing grades start. All right? 69 or below, that is an F. All right? Now, no one's going to have to worry about that because no one's going to be anywhere near this range. Right? Everybody's going to be somewhere over here, and no one's going to have to worry about it. But there are no D's. D's, no one cares about your D. I mean, they really don't. D's are, they're really nearly as bad as F's, okay? You can't transfer them anywhere. If you got a D, you can't move on to the next math class. Sometimes I've heard instructors call them sympathy grades. I don't have any sympathy grades. You know, you either do the work and you earn a good passing grade, or you didn't, and you don't. I assign grades. That's another thing. I don't give anything. Everything in the class, I give my time. But in terms of your grade, I don't give A's or B's or C's. You earn A's or B's or C's. And sometimes you earn an F if you don't do what you need to do. But that's our grading scale, and that's a little bit different. I find that not a lot of students are earning these anyway, but it did tend to confuse students. I've had a couple of students at the end of winter semester going, I can't register for my next class. I said, because you got a D. But I passed. No, you didn't. Not really. You got a D. D means you don't move on. Okay? So that's why you'll notice that there are no D's. All right? And like I said, really you want to be up here. All right? As you can probably guess by looking at, I don't look like a normal math teacher, right? What most people have in their brain of a math teacher, when they look at me, they don't usually go, I bet that guy teaches math. All right? I got this job because I was 4 times better than every other candidate that applied for the job. All right? That's not arrogance, that's confidence. I knew my stuff. All right? I did very, very well in my classes. And I excelled at all my jobs. So I was able to get really good recommendations. Speaking of recommendations, right? So I write letters all the time. Why? Because there's tons of free money to be had, right? Scholarships and grants and stuff like that. Who do you think I write the letters for? That's right. The folks who work, right? The ones that are tenacious. Not my A students necessarily, although sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's my B students. Sometimes it's my doggedly determined C students. They are struggling like hell, but they are putting in the work, right? Those are the folks I write letters for because those are the ones that I know. Those are the ones that I can actually write a meaningful letter for. I certainly don't write letters for my students that I see half or a third of the time, right? I'm like, who are you? And why would you want me to write a letter? Because I'm always honest when I write a letter, so... that holds true for all faculty here. I talk to them, and they're always talking about, I got this student, you know, they got a D in my class, their attendance was abysmal, and they asked me to write a letter of recommendation. Now, I'm usually kind, okay? I will tell the student you don't want me to write the letter. Some faculty aren't. They're like, sure, I'll write that letter. And then they wonder why they didn't get the scholarship, right? It's because they've got this ugly letter on file at the financial aid office. So, you know, you really do want to excel, okay? And you want to always make it known that you're working your hardest. Are there any questions about how the class is going to go, or any other questions? Yeah.
You said that the chemist back there was going to copy everything, so if we didn't understand something, we could pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of times you wrote things down on board. Is that going to be picked up also?
Absolutely. So what the system does is it records everything that's on here and everything I write up here, as long as I remember to move out of the way. Okay. Since I have to move around, I am used to 4 boards. So this is going to be an interesting semester for me. I'm used to being able to start down here and just write all the way down and then around a wall and then start over. So it's kind of limiting, but I felt like the ability to have these videos for you was worth trying to work around this. But what it does is it actually will do a side-by-side video. So when you see the videos, you'll see both of these at the same time. And it's this kind of long panoramic video. And what will happen is every night when I go home, I'll upload them to my YouTube channel, and then I'll put the links on our class website.
Where did you say to go to pull that up?
Sure. You're going to go to our class website, which is right here, and you'll scroll down under Student Resources. Remember those pencasts I had?
Yes.
So those pencasts are still there. In fact, for algebra, I've been working all summer on building even more of those pencasts, and those are tutorial videos as well. But the video lectures are where our class videos will be. Okay? Yeah.
Can you repeat the study sessions you said?
Sure, absolutely. So if you look on the syllabus up at the top, you'll notice that the office hours here are noon to 2. That's really my study session. So every Friday from noon to 2, I will be in this room. I won't be in my office because it's too small. But I'll be in this room working with whoever wants extra help. You can either purchase it online directly through the system, so you would just click on Connect Math and follow the registration, or you can go to the bookstore and they sell Connect Access as well. It's just a little cardboard thing that you buy. It's not really a book. That's right. It's just your access code.
What if I already have one from last year?
Do you have a Mth097 one?
Yeah, no, it was for
067? So what you have a Connect account, but you need to buy the new access code. But you don't want to register. You want to do, if you have a Connect account already, don't follow the registration guide on our class website. Follow the changing sections guide, because that's all you're doing. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Other questions? All right. So remember, tomorrow I will start directly at 10. Make sure you've picked your clickers up, and we will be starting on math material tomorrow.